Hey guys. So I wanted to talk about this because, you know, being a wrestling fan, and even though I don't watch it as weekly or as religiously as I used to, as I mentioned earlier in the previous video, I kind of keep tabs of YouTube, social media sites like Twitter and Facebook and such. And when I do watch it, I watch it because mainly I want to see what's going to happen, mostly with the PLEs or the pay-per-views. But what really makes me still be a fan, but kind of make me be like, really? You guys just, you guys just can't, enjoy all of wrestling? I mean, I get the criticisms. All companies, very notable companies in wrestling throughout the existence have been, have been earned full, if you will, of the criticisms. But why can't we just sit back and not be so judgmental, in my opinion? I mean, when I look at some of these fans, these diehard fans, I don't think they're really fans at times. I think they're nothing but trolls, or the people that look how the fan base is reacting and they just decide, okay, I'm gonna say something so outlandish and ridiculous that that not only does it sound stupid when you read it, but it makes the people reading it, hopefully realize how dumb they're acting, how dumb they look and all that. And what I'm talking about is I'll go to Twitter, now known as X, or I'll go to Facebook or wherever, and I'll have people very trollishly, and you could tell just by the fact that these are trolls, maybe young kids, middle schoolers, and all that. You can tell that they're kind of very trollish in their in their aspects and in the wording, because basically they'll come out and they'll criticize WWE or AEW and say things like, oh, so and so is so bad and da 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 da, oh, look how bad this person's booking the show, and oh, it's terrible, and these towns not getting over, these towns should go to AEW, or these towns should go to Japan, and da da da, they be booked better, la 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 la. And you read these kind of things and you're like, who are these people trying to kid? Are they trying to make us think they're serious? All this really is just a situation that puts a bad taste in the wrestling fandom, because in the long run, basically, essentially, what this really is again just a bunch of people trolling the fan base. If you will, they're trolling the fan base and everything just to try to get a reaction. Or, like I said, it's regular people on the outside that are intrigued by wrestling, see how the fan base is reacting, and they're basically trolling them to basically say, hey, this is what you guys are acting like. Look at what we're typing up. You'll read it, and you'll realize this is what you're acting like. This is how pathetic, how stupid you sound. And all because, fans are going to have disagreements over certain promotions and how certain promotions book certain wrestlers. There's no doubt about that. But it gets so outlandishly ridiculous that people feel like, people feel like, well, I'm trying to find the right words to say, but it's so outlandishly ridiculous that you just can't read it without busting a gut, if you will, or laughing to yourself, LOL, because of how stupid some of these things sound like. I mean, again, it's one thing to legitimately, as a legit fan, hardcore, casual, whatever, to criticize Tony Khan of Triple H for bad booking, or to criticize certain companies for their style of wrestling and everything. It's one thing to do that, as a true casual, if not hardcore fan. It's one thing to do that, but to say it in the way that some of these posts that I've been seeing have been saying it, it's like, okay, we get the point. We shouldn't be criticizing one over the other. We should just look at the positives and ignore the negatives. We get that. And this is why I think when you look at other wrestling fans that only pay attention to the product through social media or through YouTube or wherever, and then occasionally watch it, maybe just for a certain match or a segment, or they watch a whole PLE or pay-per-view, it's because of stuff like this. And it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that, you can't, again, you can't take what they type up, very seriously. You can't. I mean, there are people that will praise AEW as it's the best company in the world. Oh, it's going to put WWE out of business everywhere. And it's like, that could be further from the truth. That could be further from the truth. But yet they're praising it, but they're doing it in such a way that they're just doing it for laughs. They're just doing it to basically say, see, this is how you guys sound when you say WWE's better than AEW. How does it feel? Now, why don't you do us a favor and just enjoy both? Enjoy the positives over the negatives. And, that's basically about how I see this all, playing out. I mean, again, you can't take anything that people like, let's say, one person is called King MDM. You can't take that, what they say, seriously. Or one person called The Prophet. You can't take them seriously. Or one person called Peculiar. You can't take them seriously in the way they type up things and how they quote unquote trash WWE and praise AEW, or vice versa. You can't take it seriously when you see how they type it up and the way they say things. They do it because basically they're either fans that want people to just look at all the positives both companies have to offer and ignore the negatives, or they're just people that look at the wrestling fan base acting the way they are, and they decide, okay, I'm going to type up something so silly and ridiculous, I'm hoping those fans see this and realize, hey, this is how you're acting, and maybe they'll stop acting like it. And to me, it's like, if that's how you feel about something, that, to me, it's like, if that's how you truly feel, then just come out and say it. Just, tell the truth, just come out and say to the fans, either as a fellow fan yourself or an outsider, say, look, I'm so-and-so, and yes, I'm the person that does all this or says all this, but I'm doing it because I want you fans to realize, or you, my fellow fans, to realize how ridiculous you sound to each other, how ridiculous you sound favoring one over the other, that being the companies, and just enjoy the positives over the negatives. And that's it. And to me, that's why when I look at these kind of things, I'm like, how ridiculous, how stupid, how ridiculous and dumb and stupid these things sound when the way they're typed up, you can't take them serious. You can't. You can't take them serious in everything. And it's like, it's like, again, you're trying to make the fan base look like fools. Certain members of the fan base, just hardcore or casual, look like fools, more so, and I say it with all due respect, than they already make themselves look like, when they don't at least just ignore the negatives and then try to enjoy the positives. But that's why you have people like, King MDM and Prophet and Peculiar and Stone Cold Oh No and all of them, including those on Twitter, like, like Elitist Rocker and, Air. This is why you have them, saying things the way they do, because, again, they are trolling the fan base, the fellow fans, if they are fans themselves, into showing them, this is how you sound, this is how you look. Or they're basically people on the outside that pay attention to what's going on and say, you know what, wrestling fan base, this is how you sound, this is how you look. Instead of just enjoying the product for what it is. And look, I don't blame, these people for coming out and doing these things. I don't. But, once in a while, I think what you need to do, and I say it with all due respect, no offense, I think what you need to do once in a while is just come out, show who you are, and say, look, we're the people behind these names, we're the people typing up this stuff, as fellow fans or outsiders, and we're just doing this because we want to show you guys how you sound and look and act when it comes to pro wrestling on both fronts, instead of just enjoying the positives and ignoring the negatives of both companies. That's how I see this all. That's how I see this. Because again, I read some of these and I'm like, really? How stupid and gullible do you think people are? I mean, even those that, and here's what's crazy too, even those that comment on it, they know they can't take it seriously because they know the person that's doing it either as a fellow fan, and that sounds like a crash outside, I don't know what that was, but either as a fellow fan or an outsider, they realize that that person, all they're doing is trolling. All they're doing is trolling the fan, the wrestling fan base for the way they react to certain things from either WWE, AEW, New Japan, TNA, or wherever. And again, I don't blame them for that. I don't blame them for doing that because honestly, why can't we just, as the old saying goes, get along and look at the positives over the negatives? But also, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically the fact that when you get down to it, even, like I said, even those that comment on it, they realize they're being trolled. And they're getting a laugh out of it. And they're like, they look at that and they're like, seriously? Who are you trying to kid with this trollish job you're doing? But anyway, that's basically, something that, look, I get why they do it. But I wish once in a while those that do it would just come out, say who they are, and explain the real reason why they do it. And I think they do it mainly because basically wrestling fans, hardcore or casual, don't help themselves and not and basically looking at the negatives over the positives or trying to defend hardcore wise one company over the other. But that's just my opinions. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment below, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notification. Also, check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description at the bottom. And link to where you can find my content elsewhere here on the internet is in the description. As well as you can find me at divanart.com at BVW1979. But guys, give me your thoughts on all this. Love to hear what you had to think about it. And until then, I will talk to you all later.